so welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to go over my cell phone management in my classroom because I do get a lot of questions on how I deal with cell phones. So this is what I use right here. This is just a regular calculator holder, and I attached it to a clothes rack. So this is usually where people hang their clothes, and it looks like this. It's pretty simple. I got this off Amazon. It was pretty cheap. And then the calculator holder I got from another teacher on my campus, but I'll link calculator holders below. There's some that are actually really similar to this, so I will link those below. I just attached it to this holder with some zip ties. So I originally bought those S hooks, you know, the hooks where it would be like this, and then it would be like an S that comes right down, and then this would hook onto it. So I originally got those, but they didn't work very well because they would always squish into the middle like this. And then when you put the phones in, they would all hang down. And it was kind of sketchy for me as a teacher to have all their cell phones just kind of dangling there. So I got zip ties and I zip tied them. I use zip ties to attach this calculator holder, and it holds so much better. So here's what it looks like on the back. So I just cut off the extra pieces so it just dangles there, and then just kind of leave it down so it doesn't poke anyone. And that's basically all it is. That is what I use. So my desks are split up into rows now, and I make sure that there's enough room between the rows so I can roll the cart between. So I'll just start on this side, I'll start in the front, and I'll collect phones, basically rolling the cart along. And I did number all of my desks, so the numbers on the desks match up with the numbers on the calculator holders. So I know which students have which pouch, so which phone belongs to each one. So I would just take this, I would roll it down the aisles and have them put their phones in. I don't put the phones in myself just because I don't want to have that responsibility of whether or not I drop their phone. There was one incident where I dropped a student's phone and it shattered, so I don't want to have to deal with that anymore. So instead of me actually grabbing phones and putting them in there, I have the students put their phones in there. And I use it as participation points. And since I'm at a continuation school, we don't get a lot of kids that actually want to give their phones. So even if they get points for it and it like affects their participation, they don't care. So in order to get them more excited about giving me their phones, I let them put cords into their phones and then they can charge them. So I'll usually have my phone cart over here behind my desk so they can't access it. And I have all of these little USB bricks here, so they'll attach their own cord, so they'll bring it from home, and then I'll have them all just hanging here, and I will grab the cords that hang, so they would hang over the back, and I would have them just plugged in to each one of these bricks, so they have the opportunity to charge their phone too, which is a good incentive for the kids, because the kids at my school, I don't know about yours, but the kids at my school are like obsessed with their phones. So once they start to die, they start to freak out and they try to charge them around my classroom, and I don't let them do that. So I have technically I have two outlets like on the side, so I cover those up. So there's one over here, I'm not sure if you could see it. There's like white paper behind it. So if you see that like white paper right there, the white paper behind the streamers, I just stapled a piece of paper or like multiple pieces of paper. And I have another one over here behind these streamers. These ones fell. But I don't let them charge their phones over here because I tend to get a lot of kids that just stand up over at the wall, and I don't like that. So instead, if they want to charge their phone, they have to check it in over by me. So I'll roll this around and collect their cell phones while they're doing their journal write or their warm-ups. And at the last 2 or 3 minutes, I will come around with the cart again and I'll give them back. Well, I don't technically give them back, they would grab them themselves. So if they drop them, it's their own fault, you know, it's not my fault. So I don't want to have to worry about whether or not I'm going to drop them. But this is all it is. It's just a clothes rack, and it's got wheels so it rolls around. It's really nice and I love it. I think if there were anything I would change about it is that I've seen a lot of teachers that use shoe pockets, I guess. I don't know what you call them. They kind of look like the calculator holder like that, but you put your shoes in them so they're a lot bigger. So I think I would use one of those just because I have a lot of kids with like the iPhone 6 Plus and 7 Plus and all these like huge phones, and some of the kids have to take their cases off in order for them to fit in the pouches. So if I were to change something, I would probably go with a shoe holder just so that's more room for them to put their phone in and they won't have to take their case off. I know I have one girl, and she's such a sweet girl, and she would always take off her phone case to put it inside of the pouch because her phone was too big, so she had to take the phone case off. And when she did that, it ended up falling out of her pocket right before she was gonna like take it out and put it in the pouch. It fell out of her pocket, it fell onto the floor, and we have hard floors, so it actually ended up shattering. And I just remember the first time my phone ever shattered, I cried. And I was asking her, like, do you want to cry? Like, I would cry. You can go in the hallway and cry if you want. But she's like, no, it's fine. Anyways, if there's anything I would change, I would get the shoe holders just so there's more room for their phones. And this one, since they are like smaller pouches, I noticed that kids who have the silicone cases, like those little, I don't know what you call them. They're like material that's like plasticky, but like rubbery, I don't know. When you put it in a silicone case, will stick to it. So since this is like really, I don't even know how to describe it. You put a silicone case in here and it'll get stuck, and you have to push really hard and really hard and really hard until it gets all the way in. And then same with pulling it out, it's hard to pull out like that. So silicone cases don't work. Even if they are smaller phones, the silicone case will like stick to it, and it's harder for them to get it in and out. So I noticed that the kids with the silicone phone cases will take them out of their cases as well. Other than that, I think it's super awesome. I actually will do this while they're doing journal write. So the first 5 minutes of class, they get participation points, which it really helps them. And it's so much easier for me because I don't have to worry about all the things that teachers worry about these days, is whether or not kids are videoing you or videoing each other, taking pictures of each other and bullying each other by taking pictures and uploading them on Snapchat. I've had that before. So I think it really helps me as a teacher. And especially at my school, I do work at a continuation school, so a lot of my kids are distracted and they would rather be on their phones than doing their classwork. So it helps me because they aren't on their phones and I can grab their attention a whole lot easier, as opposed to just telling them the instructions or what we're doing today and then them being, what are we doing, what are we doing? Because they're actually like more inclined to pay attention when their phone isn't in front of their face. So if they don't sweep their phones, I give them an option. If they don't sweep their phones, they don't get the points for the day, which is, you know, it's up to them. They obviously can't charge their phone. But if I see it out for any reason at all, then it goes straight to the office. And our school is pretty cool, so it protects, I guess, the teachers and I guess the students. So we have really strict rules on cell phones. So if students get their phones sent to the office the first time by any teacher, then basically they can go into the office and collect it from the office lady, but it does get into their area, so it gets logged into their records, so we know, all right, you had your phone taken away this quarter. If it's the second time by any teacher, so the first time, let's say, it was me, the second time it was another teacher, it's still the second time, so it's not per teacher, 3 per teacher, you know? So the second time it goes to the office, and the parents have to pick it up, or else they won't give the phone back. And the third time of the quarter, the kids will not get it back until the last day of the quarter, which is pretty cool. So since we are on a quarter system, it's like they lost it the whole time. So I tell them, if you don't sweep it, 1, you're not getting your points. 2, if I see it out, it goes straight to the office. And there's no, like, I'm not gonna bargain with you type of thing. So we have some slips that we use. They look, let me grab them right here. So I keep them in this little folder. I keep them over here just so it's easier to grab, so right in there. Let me open them up for you. So these are the phone slips that we take out. We send these straight to the office when we collect a phone. So we'll just fill out all this information, the date, the time, the teacher, name, reason, if they were texting or anything, student signature, parent signature. So if the parent picks it up, the parent will have to sign to get it. And then it tells you what offense it is. So this is also logged in on their ARIES, which is their record. Tells you what quarter it is. So every quarter it resets, and then the ARIES entry. So we send those up to the office. I personally don't deal with taking them to the office too much. I will call our security, our on-campus security, and I'll have him take it, just because students get really upset when their phone's taken away. So I just take the phone the first time, I wrap it up in that little slip, and then I'll text our security guy and he will come and grab it and he'll take it up himself. I noticed that a lot of kids, if you take it away, they'll get so upset that they'll think they're getting it back in the end of the period, but they aren't, and then they'll just get really upset, and it's just something I don't like to deal with because these kids are ruthless. So I do send it up with our security officer. Sometimes I do get kids where I'll catch them with their phone and they refuse to give it. That's not uncommon. So then I just, again, text the security and they'll deal with it and they'll take the kid up to the office with a referral. but I think that since I do this sweeping thing here, it has helped so much. So if you try this out, please let me know. Take pictures of it. I want to see how it works for you. Or if you use any other type of method for cell phones, please let me know. I know that a lot of teachers have so much struggle with cell phones, so I definitely want to know any other ideas that you guys have or how things are working for you. Let me know down in the comments, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I would love it. I would really appreciate it. It really helps us small YouTubers grow. So if you also want to see anything else or any questions about my classroom or my management that I use in my classroom, let me know and I'll make some videos about those too. I just know that I get a lot of questions about the cell phones. I actually had I guess he's a teacher here who kind of like, he's a TOSA, so he goes to other schools in the district, and he took a picture of this when he saw it and sent it to another teacher, and that teacher ended up emailing me and I didn't know who it was. They're like, oh, tell me about this. So I just wanted to let you know what I do, and if you have any ideas, please let me know. And again, subscribe if you haven't. Like this video if you haven't already. Liking it really kind of gets my video out there, so it suggests it to other people, so definitely like it. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!